Hi, everyone. Wishing you a very good evening. For those of you who will watch this later recorded, then of course, this is a conversation that I think will live on for many, many weeks and months because marketing, as we all know, or what we now term as communications, is one of the most important things that we as dentists need to learn about. Especially with COVID, we have learned some important life lessons, and one of them is to probably communicate in a whole new way, be it with our teams or be it with our patients. And our guest today is none other than Neeraj Shah. I think his popularity precedes him. So, without further ado, I'm going to have him share the screen with me and welcome, Neeraj. So good to see you.
Thank you, Diksha. Thank you for this wonderful welcome. I really appreciate it. It's really nice to connect with you and your community here.
And on that note, I wanted to ask you it's all about communication now because we are all limited to our home offices. And even though I go back to practice for emergencies and things like that, the message is really not getting out there, whether we're on or off, or are we working, not working, working slowly, all of that. So I think communication has become a huge challenge. How do you think new age communication is going to look like? I mean, how have things changed in, I don't like to call it marketing because it seems you must be aware of this myth with dentists where we always consider marketing as, something a little like non-altruistic in our profession. So I'd like to reterm that as maybe new age communication. So what do you think has changed, or how do you think we should approach this?
So I think let's look at what COVID has done. COVID has cooped us up in our homes for a very long period of time. And, particularly people are not used to spending so much time, just confined and not being able to go out, not being able to meet patients, etc. So I think the first thing is, typically as doctors, you are taking care of other people's health.
Right.
That's always foremost, in your mind. But I think, this is when there's an emergency situation like we have at COVID. When you're in an airplane and there's an emergency, what do they tell you first? Okay, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Then you can help others. So I think it's really important that first we acknowledge that there have been some massive changes. Absolutely. And that we've faced difficulties, because we don't need to be in denial, because there have been a lot of people that have been challenged by this, and to share that. So I think that's important that people acknowledge that. I think having a really good, strong morning routine really helps you get into the right mindset. Okay, because 80% of anything, whether life or business, is mindset. So if you don't get into the right mindset, then I don't think you're going to be able to help anyone. If you communicate when you are in a negative mindset, people are going to be able to pick it up.
But you're so right. And I'm such a proponent of the 5 a.m. club because I have such bad days if I don't get my mind right. It's literally my oxygen mask. And
coming to the question which you were saying that, what has changed? Typically, I mean, if you look at it, pre-COVID and after COVID, pre-COVID, you could get away offline. Many of us could have businesses offline and we never really had to be active online, and, everything was running fine. What COVID has done is that, look, social distance has meant that we just could not meet other people. Many of our businesses shut down, for quite some time without seeing a single patient. So, then what do? We had to go digital. And, I understand, I had a 100% offline business, just, 3 months ago. So I understand all of this. So we have to think digital. And, the thing is that digital allows you to educate and be in touch with the patient in a much more easier, powerful way through many different platforms and mediums. And a
Right.
lot of the things that you end up creating and doing on social media then kind of can live on for a very long period of time.
Right. Right. In fact, one of the challenges we were facing after 3 months of being shut down was what's the right way to really restart communication? Now, you can't like suddenly open 10 profiles or even, I mean, that would be for the new consumer where you are trying to reach a new patient. But what about all your old patients, the family of patients that you're already dealing with who need you? So, what's the right way to restart communication with them?
So first of all, I will say all is gold. So always start with the existing patients. And what I would do is I categorize it from A to Z. Okay. And every week I would, say, okay, look at, week one, look at all the patients starting with the names from A to B. Okay.
Right.
And get in touch with them. The ones that you are closest to, actually give them a call saying, hey, quick call just to check in. How are you?
Yes. Makes sense. Absolutely.
So, just person to person communication, like human to human, like relationship based communication.
Right. And this would be much better than a WhatsApp or an email, you think?
Yes. Yes. Because first of all, like how many dentists call up?
Yeah.
No one. So,
Really
so,
no one.
so if your dentist calls up, then you really are going to feel like special, like and literally just disarm them, saying nothing, like we're not even open, okay,
Yeah. They
and,
just want to know if
but
you're
I
okay.
just want to check in and say, how are you?
Right. I think that's a really special gesture, and it's something that is important for us to start the communication at some point. And I think we had it all wrong in terms of sending messages first, but messages are too impersonal at this stage. I think it's important to make that human contact, especially when we've been so isolated for so long. But in general, I think the consistency of building content and keeping up, that regularity is probably a sort of thing that people have started doing in lockdown. But I don't think many of us will be able to sustain the same sort of thing. So, how do we manage this issue? How do we hack our way to better content and using it more wisely?
Okay, so let me tell you, I'm a systems expert, and
I
that's
know.
how I end up scaling up businesses. Okay, so I have a
Absolutely.
system
I've
for
seen your
everything.
videos and they're superb. So,
So people think I'm on social media all the time. I'm hardly on social media, but my presence is kind of all encompassing, and I'm everywhere. So how do I do it? Okay, um, I only create one piece of content, every week. That's it.
right.
And what I would suggest to you is the piece of content you want to create is a video. And
Yeah.
what you want to do is you want to create a video around a frequently asked question,
True.
or it might be around the case study, or it might be, just think it from an education point of view. Like, why have you decided on offering this new procedure?
Right.
So it's kind of getting into all of that. It could be even your origin story. I love origin story videos. Like,
Yeah.
why did you decide to become a dentist?
It's the
And
highest form of connection you can have with your audience, right?
absolutely, and
Have your story.
people love stories.
And I think what this entire talk has done for me is made marketing seem just like a conversation. It's literally making me feel like the way I talk to my patients, the way I, in the closed room, in my closed clinical room, we build connections, relationships. And that room has just become virtual now. That room has just opened up to the world. Thank you so much for shedding so much light on so many important points that I think we were all struggling with. It's just about the right communication, and I have so many things to start imbibing and practicing from tomorrow. I'll have you go back to your son now. We won't keep you any longer.
Sure, sure. So,
Right?
if you found this of value, please tag me and thank me, and let me know what you found most useful, and most importantly, what one action are you going to take.
Yeah.
I want you to make a
So
public
important.
declaration, because then you're more likely to follow through. Okay.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Thank you so much for being so generous with your content and your resources. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks. Take care.